What's up? You know what time it is. It is time for another Convo Sessions. And it's your girl, Phree the Truth, your favorite girlfriend in life. Forget to holler at me whenever you need to talk about something. I'm always open. You can book me, right? I wanted to take a moment to talk about something that I felt a lot of people were going through, and I'm observant, and people have hit me up about some things, and I felt a constant theme and coming up. So I really wanted to take a moment and just dive into this. Healing can get ugly. I say that because people see these posts on social media, and healing looks like this ray of sunshine and walking through the meadows and flowers and such things. And not to say that, you don't get there. But a lot of the times it requires us to get ugly. And I say ugly because it's just not a pleasant experience. It's very uncomfortable, and it calls for us to call our own selves out. There were times where I had to look in the mirror and really question what it is that I'm after. What is it that I want out of life? And how am I going to get it? And calling yourself out requires some brutal honesty with yourself. It requires some digging at times, and it calls for you to bring up things that you may necessarily want to bring up within yourself. We all have been through some type of traumas in life, right? And a lot of us didn't really address the drama, right? We didn't address it. We kind of got used to it, and we learned to live with our trauma. Healing requires acknowledging the trauma that you don't want to acknowledge. I remember being in junior high, and I had a best friend at that time, and me and him, we kind of had like this adolescent love-hate relationship with each other. We were both Geminis, so that played onto certain personality behavior traits. And we just really knew how to dig into each other. We really knew what it was to be able to push someone's buttons, right? And this was something that would go on between the two of us on the constant. One day we like best friends, love each other. Next day, like, I hate that I like you and I want to hurt your feelings. Children, right? One day we were in class together and just wouldn't let up. Just wouldn't stop. And it drove me to the point of tears in class. And, I go to the bathroom, I'm trying to gain my composure. I want to stop crying, but my feelings have been hurt. My ego has been hurt. I have been embarrassed in front of all my classmates. And I just want to crawl up into a ball and the ground just swallow me up. I don't even want to go back out here. And I went back out, sat down, did not talk to him the rest of the day. I can't remember how long it went that I did not talk to him. We pretty much walked the same way home, and like I just walked a little further. His house was like a block or so before mine. And he would follow me all the way home after causing that pain to me. And for a long time, I didn't recognize how much that moment played into my life with dating and men, right? Because it's like, well, he must care, he loves you if he hurt your feelings. Because he felt so guilty about hurting my feelings in class, and I wouldn't talk to him for a while. He followed me home, and then he would walk home by himself afterwards. And again, this was a long time ago, so I don't remember how long that went on, but I do remember it happening. And until I was ready to unpack that childhood trauma that played into my life, that played into my interactions with men, that played into my relationships, I wasn't able to figure out where I drew up this definition for a relationship. Now, don't get me wrong, there's other things that play into it, but that was something that was repressed because of all the hurt that it caused me in my childhood. I didn't want to think about that. But it played a role in my adulthood, and I had to unpack it. I had to face that hurt. Fortunately for me and that guy, we grew up, we stayed in contact, and we were able to come to each other and provide closure for the pain that we caused each other. By no means was I an innocent party in our childhood friendship. We caused each other pain. We were able to grow up and heal. And we were able to reach out to each other and say, you know what? I'm sorry. A lot of people do not get those moments. And I do stress the fact that it is not required. It's nice to have that closure. It's nice to have that apology, but there's so many other incidents in life where you never get a sorry. You have to apologize to yourself for being in that position. And it's no blame. It's just a lot of the times when we take back those moments and we reflect and we process them, we understand our roles and how we played into it. I'm not saying that the person is not at fault for what they caused you. But in order to close those doors yourself, instead of waiting for someone to do it, you have to first be apologetic to yourself. Okay? And that's out of love. That is out of love. Now, I know people tend to deal with imposter syndrome, right? And for those who aren't clear on what it is, to the imposter syndrome is a person who doubts themselves, their gifts, their talents, their accomplishments, and you live in the fear of being exposed as a fraud, right? And you kind of live in this world feeling like you're a phony. And at any moment, you can be found out, right? People tend to feel this way in their careers. And I even myself have gone through imposter syndrome, just feeling like I'm not as great as was being presented. However, it's just about owning your greatness and being comfortable in your greatness. And you have to take ownership over the things that you have done. You're not making anything up. These are your accomplishments. This is the things you have done. This is the person you are. So own that shit. I want to talk about imposter syndrome when it comes to relationships. And just to think about imposter syndrome when it comes to relationships, and just sometimes people not being in position is the best way I can put it. Now, I know that people go through certain things in life. And that's why I kind of went into the background of like dealing with your trauma. Because some people are great. They're wonderful. They have charisma. They have a great energy. They're well-rounded people. It's the type of person you would see as desirable for a relationship. And sometimes those people find themselves in positions with others, or situationships, as we like to say in this day and age, and they feel like possibly they're not ready. They feel that this person whom they're dating is out of their league. They're too good to be true, and they are not worthy of such an individual. When in all actualities, you wouldn't be able to date the person unless they saw you as a person worth dating, right? I see people struggle with ideas, expectations, memories from their past. And there's a lot of things that people carry with them from their childhood that they do not see. I remember being bullied. I went through it one time as a very young child when we were in California. I was probably kindergarten, first grade. I was very young. I remember this older kid actually like taking my lunch money, right? And went and told my mom, of course. She comes to the school. If anybody knows my mother, she's an OG, triple OG, triple. She don't play no games about no one that she calls family or cares about. And, we have to sit down with the parents and, kind of squash it. They were shocked to know that their son was doing such a thing, and especially such a little girl. I like I said, I was very young. And then I remember later on in life, not necessarily being bullied, but being teased about my size, because I had grandma at home and she was cooking all types of meals, and I loved me some food, and I ain't turning down nothing but my collar when it comes to a good plate. You feel me? So I went through this awkward stage of not really liking my body. I remember being in high school and feeling so awkward and out of place because I was like this plus size girl in high school, and all the other girls were like a medium and a small, and I'm like, I need an extra large. And just to look back at my pictures and see like how beautiful I was, and to think like, man, I really did not like myself then. And that's just the outside pressures of feeling like you should be something that is not in correlation with who you are. But I remember these things carrying over into my adulthood, and me having to come to terms and still come to terms with loving my body. As a mother, you think of things of how it was before, and you're just like, my body is different now. And, like I said, it's still something that I struggle with. And I'm still active in the self-love of myself and recognizing my own beauty and, being beautiful to myself. People can tell you you're beautiful all day long, but if you're not beautiful to yourself, what are the compliments? You can't really be thankful or grateful or appreciative of those types of compliments if you don't believe it in yourself. And that jumps back into feeling some type of imposter syndrome in a relationship. When you're dealing with a person who feels like, well, back then they didn't want me. And it's like, but I know you now, so I can appreciate all of those things that made you who you are now. And you may be dealing with, or you maybe are a person who's not able to come to terms with who you are now. You're still carrying the person of your childhood. When you look in the mirror, you don't see who you are now. You see that person then. And that's when it's time to start loving yourself more. That's when it's time to start loving and consoling your inner child. Your inner child is wounded. Healing is ugly. Pulling back those layers requires a truthfulness with yourself. It requires you to be honest on what you see of that person then and coming to grips with who you are now, building the bridge from then to now. Acknowledging your growth, your accomplishments from then to now. Some people have a hard time accepting their growth because it's much more comfortable to be the person that you were, because that person that you were before allowed you to hide, if you will. It gave you a cover. I was able to use my weight to hide because it kept me protected. I dealt with trauma growing up as a child, right? I dealt with sexual abuse. It created a necessity to develop a barrier so I can't be hurt again. My weight, to me, was a deflection. You're not going to want me if you think I'm unattractive. That was my protection, allowed me to hide. So me coming through that, me loving myself through that, me healing through that is what's causing me right now to love myself. These are decades in the making. Your healing does not come overnight. And it's not pretty. It's not one straight line either. There's a lot of loops. You're going to circle back to some stuff that you thought that you were healed from. You're going to get triggered. Most of all, you're going to be forced out of your comfort zone. Because something's going to happen in your life that is going to force you to recognize your greatness. Whether that be a job, a relationship, anything. It's going to force you to recognize your greatness. And sometimes people are not ready to answer the call because they have not addressed their issues. They have not confronted their drama. You haven't confronted it. And until you confront that trauma, you're going to be forced to stay right where you are. Some people feel that they don't deserve it. Some people feel they're not worthy of the love and the happiness. You wasn't put on this earth to be miserable. You wasn't put on this earth to suffer. You were not put on this earth to just be alone and die. You were put here for a purpose. And it's easy to live in the hurt. It's easy to live in the pain. It's easy to stay stagnant. It's easy to stay where you are. But you have to push yourself out of that hole. You have to. You have to continue to work on yourself so you can get better. And it requires work. But if you do that, then you get to unlocking these levels of yourself, these levels of you that are dying to come through. The parts of you that you did not know existed. But when you're just in survival mode, you don't get to unlock those levels. Sometimes, when you're getting it together, it requires a little alone time to dig in. And then sometimes you're lucky and you get someone who's going to help you. Sometimes we turn away our healers because we are so stuck on our identity from the trauma that you don't know how to identify without it. So you push your healers away. You push away the people who are here to help because it's easier to be alone. The healing is not just from past relationships, and that's usually where people get stuck on this healing. It's beyond romantic relationships. You know what I mean? Like, people are healing from their relationships with their parents. People are healing from the betrayal of friends, sibling rivalry, you know what I mean? Academic problems, you know what I mean? Fraudulent business partners. Everything isn't about a romantic relationship. However, those things can play into it. And that's why healing is ugly. Because it's no just one thing. You'll peel back the layers and see how far that really spreads. I understood what my defense mechanisms came from. When you're in a self-sabotage mode, where you feel like I can't do anything, I can't have anything, I don't deserve any good. That's self-sabotage. That's a defense mechanism. Where is it coming from? You must dig into your healing and prepare for the ugliness. However, I promise you, on the other side of that, you're healing, the feeling better, dropping those weights that you were dragging around with you, providing your own closures. You are not responsible for the trauma caused to you, but you are definitely accountable for your own healing. There's a lot of stuff that I had to heal from that I never got an apology for. I hope you understand that there are going to be a lot of things that you are going to have to heal from that they are not going to be sorry about. You're not going to hear, "I'm sorry." Sometimes you may, but don't count on it. Be responsible for your healing. Heal those wounds so you can stop bleeding over everyone else. Heal so when you hear the words, "I love you," it doesn't strike fear. It doesn't make you return to your corner. It doesn't make you retreat from affection. Heal so you know when you have someone here to help you through your journey. Heal so you can be a better version of you. Imagine living life without the trauma. Imagine living life understanding your triggers. Imagine living life with self-love and acceptance. Imagine being able to live life for the first time. A lot of us are not living. We're surviving day to day. And it has nothing to do with your bank account. It has everything to do with your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Because if any of those things are bankrupt, it doesn't matter how much money is in your account. Some of us are waiting for everything else to get better before you start healing. No, everything won't be better until you heal. It's your girl, Phree the Truth, life coach, spiritual guide, vent sessions always, you feel me? I'm here to help you because healing gets ugly. And I'm here to tell you the truth on how to help heal yourself. I don't do the healing for you. I help facilitate your own healing. Get at your girl, Phree the Truth. You can find me everywhere. PHREETHA Truth. Of course, go visit the website, freethetruth.com. Always advocating for Black men. So go to my Black Man website, dearblackmen.app. Shout out to Team City Buzz. Check them out, City Buzz Radio. And remember to tune in next week. Holla.